Tonight, history made. The first all-civilian flight to orbit the Earth has blasted off. 4 private citizens heading to space for 3 days without any professional astronaut on board.
There they are, our first all-civilian crew.
Training for months, they're soaring 360 miles away from Earth, farther than Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos went, and farther than the International Space Station. 38-year-old billionaire entrepreneur Jared Isaacman bought the seats on a SpaceX rocket and then gave them away as a fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Hospital. One of the crew members, 29-year-old Haley Arsenault, is a physician's assistant at St. Jude. She was a patient there as a child. She'll be the youngest American ever to go to space and the first pediatric cancer survivor.
Oh my gosh.
Holy shit. Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, Vanessa. Great to have you back.
Thanks so much, Mark. Nice to see you as well. You look fantastic.
Oh, man, you'll do anything I send you a $20 e-transfer to say.
Well, you gave me grief last time because I didn't comment on how great you looked. So I thought that, one, I would comment on how great you looked. And two, I had to get my hair cut and done so I looked as good as you.
You look amazing.
Come back.
You look amazing, and I'll never be in your league. So but I did notice you look great, hair done, awesome top. You don't have those sunglasses on you had this morning when you walked Eva to school. But we'll leave that alone for a second. But I should offer up a big congratulations for your promotion at IMI International. Are they finally putting you in charge so that company will be steering a straight line, or what's going on? Get that Mayo guy out of there.
It's a team effort. Thank you so much. Really exciting days to come at IMI. I'm thrilled.
Well, kudos to you. I'm sure it's well deserved. So you did become a senior vice president, but you did not become an astronaut. Is that true?
That is correct.
But pretty amazing. The first time ever 4 civilians have gone to space, including Haley Arsenault, who literally was a patient at St. Jude's. Now she's a medical assistant there. They raised $200 million for the hospital. Dr. Sian Proctor, the first Black woman in space. The whole thing's amazing. Did you watch any of it? Were you envious?
You know what? It's funny. I'm on 2 sides when it comes to space travel. Part of me, whenever I watch it, I get really nervous and I get excited at the same time. The other side of me also says, let's just leave the world alone. And isn't there some other place where we can put our money, because there's so many people that are suffering? So what I loved about this story specifically was the give back to St. Jude. And I thought that was pretty phenomenal. So that met me in the center of my polarizing views of space travel.
Well, it's interesting you talked about the risk, because Jared Isaacman, the billionaire who funded the 4 tickets, he actually made 2 sets of videos for his wife and his 5 and 4-year-old children. A good video and a not so good video. And I just thought to myself, I'm not sure I could even go through that process.
Yeah.
Doing the goodbye video. I mean, you and I as parents, just imagine that moment. I don't know if you heard about some of the complaints about the Dragon. The cruise called Inspiration 4. But ironically, the 2 issues about the Dragon were that the bathroom had no privacy and it needed better Wi-Fi. And I thought, that just sounds like every Airbnb in the world.
That's really funny. I did not hear about that, but those are really funny complaints.
All right, one more congratulations right now. Our super producer, James, had a beautiful little girl. This is an unauthorized photo of him, clearly. Ruby May was born on Monday. Congratulations, James and Catherine, down in Barbados. James actually was working on a big production for us yesterday. My team told me that all week he was actually doing Zooms and calls from the hospital bathroom to stay on point. So kudos, glad everybody's happy, healthy, and James, you can get mad at me later. Whenever I text somebody and say, can you send me a picture and I won't share it, you know I'm lying.
Yeah, I'd be careful about that.
All right, so to kick things off for Weekly Pulse, let's have a little quick look at what we all can't wait to be doing again soon.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, we were worried about this because the reality is, and this is the honest truth, we didn't know if Isaac could get into the gig because the boy is 15 years old and he's probably feeling like this. He started high school this week. Show me what you got, Isaac, now. But there's no thing.
That might go to my head if I was 15 years old.
Oh, I would think so. How incredible is that? What an experience. And three phenomenal brands or bands. I got really excited watching that.
All right, I'm excited to have my Weekly Pulse back, so go for it.
Yeah, this is great. So we're going to look into how are we feeling in Canada and as it pertains to personal health, but also going back to lives. So starting with a bit of a quiz. Personal health, number of people concerned about their personal health. This is right now, hot off the press, September 2021, 66%, 82%, or 50%. This is in Canada.
66.
You are right.
Wow, amazing.
So, I mean, the interesting thing about that is it is 66%. So it feels like it's high, obviously, because it still is. People are still concerned about their personal health. Where we were last year, at the same time was 74%. So things are getting a little bit better. And if you look at severely concerned, it's even better because it's only in the low 30s for now. Whereas last year at the height, it was in the high 50s.
I'll tell you why I knew it wasn't 82%.
Why?
Because 20% of Canadians have no interest in getting vaccinated. So they're clearly not concerned. But let's move on before I start ranting.
You're just crazy smart. Okay, so what are we missing most as Canadians? So this is what we're missing most, but what we're also really excited about, and that's family celebrations, personal celebrations, face-to-face connections, events live, and travel. So these are the things. Which one of these are you? This isn't part of the quiz, but which one are you most excited about here?
Well, I'm looking at the picture on the left, and it's a long time ago since I turned 30. Because Karen wouldn't actually marry me, we're not going to have a 30th anniversary, but maybe I can figure out the date she moved in. And I would just say for me, it's really, as much as I'm in the business of events and I'm in the business of travel and the business, it's face-to-face connection. And I know it's a bit broad, but the fact that you and I used to, when we worked together, you know, and we needed to chat about something, we'd have a chat, right? And I just think when you work with your colleagues, I think of before I even knew you, you know, I knew Jennifer Murray, and you guys have worked together, and like she talked about your energy, right? You're a person who brings energy into an environment. And I think that for me, I miss the most. What about you?
So sorry, my energy. Let me just confirm. It's my energy in your environment that you miss the most.
Number one, I miss Vanessa's energy. I called Mike and I asked if I could have a half hour of you to come over to our office today and energize the place.
Well, now that I'm a senior vice president, my invoices are pretty high, so we're gonna have to
you,
talk about that.
Whipping out the card in this digital age already. I'm a senior vice president. Okay, what do you, Madam Senior Vice President? I mean, you outright Kamala Harris right now. What are you missing the most?
I would say face-to-face connections too, and it's those little things that when you are with someone that you you get their energy, you have a conversation that you didn't expect you're going to have,
right.
Something comes up that you didn't expect to talk about, that type of thing. I miss that.
Me and you both.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about live a little bit more. So ready to go back to live. What is the percent of Canadians that are ready to return now? They just can't wait. They don't care about any restrictions or anything. 20, 10, or 45?
I'm optimistically going to say 45. Wow, that's low.
20%. Yeah. So that's, in thinking about, how many people in ROI and investment, there are 20% of Canadians that are going to go right now. So let's go to the next slide. What about the percent of Canadians that are looking to take a wait and see attitude? I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. Probably not. Go 20, 10, or 45.
Oh, I'm going to go with 45 again. And I'm wrong again.
20. So
60% of Canadians are doing something that I need to know about in a minute.
So a fifth and a fifth.
Yeah.
Right? So let's see, who are those people in the middle? And is there anything that will influence them? There are two things that are going to influence them. Social distancing measures. So if you think about the Jays games,
I was about to say.
Right? When you buy a ticket, you can choose to either go into the non-social distancing area, which is, in the broadcast area,
right.
Or you can go into the social distancing area. So you have a choice. And there are measures and vaccine passports. So these are the two things that can influence and accelerate people to go back to live.
Well, it's interesting because the Jays just got approved to go to 30,000 for the stretch run to get that last wild card. So I'll be curious to see if they're up to the 500 level, but keep going.
Okay, so if we go to the next slide. What about signage? Because we talked a lot about signage, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. 8 in 10 people in Canada and the US say actually signage isn't really important. So you don't have to say exactly what what's being done and what you're doing. It's that do versus say. So show that there's going to be social distancing. Show that you're checking vaccine passports. You don't have to necessarily say it and put signage and show people cleaning everything all the time.
What we do need is signage that says, be nice to the waitresses, because there's bullshit about now people are harassing restaurant staff who are simply trying to enforce the law. And why anybody would want to be a waitress or a hostess or a waiter now, when not only do you have to deal with working all day in a mask and the heat and all the rest of it and demanding customers, now you become like a deputized sheriff. It's a joke.
It's interesting that you say that because I was out for dinner at Stock just last week.
Name dropper. Keep going.
Great restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'm in the beach, so it took me a long time to get there.
I was going to say, did you need a passport to cross Eglinton?
Yes. No, I'm from there, so I'm grandfathered in.
Okay.
But the waitress actually said to us, "Thank you so much for being so kind, and thank you so much for being so nice, because people are not being very nice right now. So let's just all be a little bit more human and treat everybody with respect."
Well, she texted me as well and said it was the first time she served a senior vice president.
And she was so nice, she couldn't believe it. Okay, so vaccine passports. This is a big question. Number of Canadians that are supportive of vaccine passports for entry into indoor facilities.
I'm just going to say it better be 63% or I'm quitting this show.
You're right, it's 63%. Okay. Don't quit, please.
All right.
Okay, so just in summary, if we go to the next slide. Oh, sorry, actually 24 are against, which is also really interesting. So, again, I mean, there are going to be people that are completely against. There are going to be some polarizing views on that.
I'm sorry, you have to wear a shirt. You can't bring a gun. You got to have a ticket. Like, screw you, there are rules, right? And I'm sorry, but if you want to come in unvaccinated or you're against vaccine passports and you're willing to endanger other people's health, that's no different than bringing a freaking gun into the Jays game.
You know what's also really interesting is I think the words vaccine passports, the fact of the matter is it's updating your immunization record.
Right.
And we've all had immunization
vaccinated.
records. We've all had to have them. We've all needed them for school. It's just updating them. It's really not a big deal. So,
our producers are telling us we're 10 minutes behind because I'm ranting too much. So okay. I'll try to stop. You keep going because apparently your content's good and mine's just a rant.
Okay, so quick summary. We're still feeling concerned about our personal health, but we're better than we were last year. So that's really good. That's good news. We're still missing connection, but now we're excited about because we're getting some of it as well. A fifth, they're ready to go back to live. They're going to go. A fifth, not so much, but there are those in the middle that we can bring on board with just a couple of things, and that's vaccine passports and social distancing measures. So let's give people what they're excited about, and let's get back to live.
Well, you know what? I know the NHL wants to have full crowds. I mean, even like a St. Louis Blues assistant coach, I think it was fired the other week because he wouldn't get vaccinated. We need to get it back to live. Speaking back to live, last weekend, one of our clients, Baycrest, had a great walk for the ages, and I saw a new ad campaign that they launched with, I believe it's BBDO. I apologize if it's not, which I thought was amazing. So let's open up with this video, and then we'll get into Sponsorship X on Bourbon Street.
It's a fight for your life. Memories are lost. In the grips of dementia, you're adrift in a vast expanse. Somewhere inside us is a way through. As the scientific headquarters for over 300 researchers across the country, Baycrest is working to defeat dementia. But we need your help to discover a new world full of possibilities, free of fear.
Super powerful. Have you seen the movie The Father?
No, I have not.
Highly recommend it. Anthony Hopkins. Have to watch it. Have to watch it. So let's into Sponsorship X on Bourbon Street. We've got some interesting stories today. Let's kick off with one from California where Under Armour and UCLA are in a bit of a pissing war.
Obviously, the news broke a little bit earlier, and we often talk about what a great day it is to be a Bruin.
I've said this before, and I don't want it to ever dull on the idea, but this is really a transformational moment for our brand.
There's a spirit of innovation here that has pushed the university forward since its founding. Under Armour is, quite simply, a visionary brand.
Under Armour is the new it. All of the student athletes and the recruits are really excited.
Under Armour worked tirelessly with us to build a comprehensive new branding initiative that maintains the most important traditions and staples of the UCLA brand.
UCLA has filed a lawsuit against Under Armour for breach of contract, seeking damages for more than $200 million. Under Armour announced it was ending its deal with the university in June, 4 years into a 15-year deal worth $280 million, the highest in college athletics. Under Armour cited the coronavirus and poor performance from the UCLA athletic program as the reasons why they terminated the deal.
Well, lots of battling going on in this one. And, you know, Under Armour canceled the deal, blaming COVID and poor performing UCLA teams. Then UCLA said to Under Armour, will you equip our football teams and basketball teams for the year? They did for free. But then the UCLA then covered up the Under Armour logo with these social justice patches. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a really interesting one, and there's always stuff with sponsorship, and there's always back and forth. But this one, what I found so interesting is Under Armour's slogan is "Protect this house."
Right.
And outside of everything that's going on with business and COVID is everything that's going on at UCLA. And so the sexual abuse scandals, the admission scandals, and
right.
Under Armour is about protect this house. I think it's phenomenal that they're standing up for their brand. And I actually think that like universities, UCLA, and we've also seen some universities in Canada, they need to pull it together and they need to get a little bit more strict and stronger with some of these regards. So, I mean, I'm all for Under Armour in this one.
Interesting. In a future week, we should talk about the crap going on at Western. But now we're going to switch gears for a second. I have a question for you. Are you a Leafs fan?
I am when they're in the playoffs.
Okay. Did you think last year that they were going to win the Stanley Cup?
I was so excited. I didn't know if they were going to win, but I was hoping that they would.
Well, the first Canadian Prime video, All or Nothing, is actually on the Maple Leafs. Let's have a look at the trailer and listen to Will Arnett.
I feel our team slipping. That's all we want to be about. We're a lot better than that collectively. Let's go win a game. Come on.
54 years since the Leafs' last championship.
I think you're starting to see them grow up as a team.
And yeah, we lost again. But what happened behind closed doors is a story you'll want to see.
Then I don't know what the is going to happen. My patience is running thin.
We have to live the success that we all aspire to.
Communication off the ice is very important. So this is where it starts.
Sculling balls into the neighbor's yard.
Yeah.
This is the raw, uncut version of our family life.
Sometimes you're like, this is tough. Oh! And you got to find that belief to continue fighting.
Straight to the top. His game's great, his mullet's even better.
Whoa, oh my.
Are you going to watch?
I'm not going to watch that, but actually, most importantly, I asked my son, who's he's at university, he's 21, he's a huge sports fan.
Yeah.
And I said, are you going to watch? And he said, I saw an ad for it. I thought it was intriguing, but I'm actually not going to watch. They don't really have the pull. They don't have the intrigue. If they were actually doing something and have done something, then maybe I'd be interested. And he's a huge hockey fan, so I was really surprised at that.
Albeit this type of series has worked well for things like F1, but I do have a question for you. Why don't the Leafs sell the best sponsorship category available to them, which is the official sponsor of Misery? I mean, they own Misery. Why don't they sell that as a category? Help me out here. I haven't figured this one out.
We talked before. It's what's the title of this? Is all.
It's all or nothing.
All or nothing.
You had a twist.
All for nothing.
Yeah, I like your version. All for nothing. All right, now let's go on to an amazing deal between two great Canadian icons, Lululemon, the Canadian Paralympic Committee, and the Canadian Olympic Committee. I don't know. I think this is an amazing fit. I had to say it.
I do too. I think it's fresh, it's new, it's interesting, it's exciting. We all love Lululemon. They obviously did very well as a business over the last year last 18 months during COVID. And I think it's fantastic. I feel badly for HBC. They've been doing this. They've had the partnership since 2006, but I'm really excited to actually purchase some of this merchandise. I think it's really cool.
With all due respect to my friends at HBC, and I've spent a lot of money on their stuff. And I think this is one of those situations where often properties look at getting brands involved, not just for the financial investment, but also for the brand halo. And I think this will do as much for the brands of the Canadian Paralympic Committee and Canadian Olympic Committee as it will for Lulu. And, Asia is obviously a big market. So while there's lots of stuff around potential boycotts of Beijing. I think Lulu will double down there. It'll be great for when our athletes walk into the opening ceremonies of the Paralympics and Olympics in Beijing.
I agree.
100%. Okay, so now switching gears from sponsorship X, one of the things we want to talk a little bit about today on Last Call is just this whole bias around what does beauty mean. And I want to run this video first, and then I want to get your thoughts on this whole Decode the Bias campaign.
We have to face that beauty is in the eye of the coder. Search for beautiful skin, beautiful face, beautiful woman. Where are the women of color? Where are the women that look like me or you or you? Who gets to be beautiful online is decided by code and society. And women of color, we're being left out. That's why Olay wants to double the number of women in STEM. Because to face coded bias, we need more women leading and coding in our beautiful ideas. Celebrate her features, my features, our features.
Recognize my skin in all its brilliant shades.
Help us and post using hashtag Decode the Bias on Instagram or Twitter to send 1,000 girls to Code Camp. It's time we decode the bias, because together we can face anything.
I think this is really interesting. I know Olay is actually trying to double the number of women in STEM in the next 5 years. What are your thoughts on this?
So first of all, I think that the idea of defining perfection and beauty, I get upset by it. It gives me hives because I think there's so many ways that beauty can come to life. I love the fact that they're making a stand, and as a big brand, L'Oreal is making a stand about beauty. What is the definition of beauty as well, and I think it's great because we are our own worst enemies. We're the ones who have said that beauty looks like this. And so let's change that conversation.
No, absolutely. And I met a young woman at our Black Talent Initiative meetup a few weeks ago by the name of Nia Faith. And she's the co-founder of a group called Revolutionaire, which is really this social network for change makers. But she founded it because as a young Black woman growing up, and she was a ballerina, she was very frustrated with buying white ballet shoes and having to paint them with shoe polish and not being able to get the items that she needs. So I think to your point, when you look at beauty and how it manifests itself in fashion, athletics, ballet, even white Band-Aids, I think these types of initiatives are very important.
Yeah.
So I asked you earlier if you're a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. Are you a New York Jets football fan by any chance?
Sometimes.
Well, it's okay if you're not, because I think there's probably a few people who suffer more than Leaf fans, although the Jets have won a Super Bowl more recently than the Leafs have won the Stanley Cup.
That's true.
The Jets have this hotshot rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson, out of BYU. I think he's going to do really well. But last week, he threw 4 interceptions against the New England Patriots. It was almost like it gave me hives thinking of his safety. So I'm going to thank you for joining me this week again on Bourbon Street. Congratulate you once again on becoming a senior vice president. Invite you back soon. And we're going to close the show today with this young person's 60-second analysis of the Jets offense. It's got 500,000 likes online. Vanessa, great seeing you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Nice to see you as well.
If there's one play that sums up the New York Jets, this one has to be it. This Patriot's winning off the edge. This Jets lineman is probably holding. There's a Patriot charging up the middle at Zach with no blocking at all. This Jets dude is being pancaked on the ground. We have these two idiots staring at each other like, yo, what are we doing? I don't know, let's just stand here. We have 78 touching his own lineman. On top of that, we have 2 receivers with 0 separation, and the cherry on top has to be Zach Wilson throwing this pick. And Corey Davis has no hops.